Hello, and welcome to the Moms Love Coaching Podcast, where we talk about self-care from the inside out for moms. I'm your host, Carrie McFarland, along with Angie Turgeon-Ledoux. We are certified life coaches and moms, and in this podcast, we'll go beyond the take a spa day advice and talk about real and sustainable ways that you can feel better, be happier, and stay out of overwhelm and burnout. You spend your life taking care of everyone else. In this podcast, each week, it's all about you taking care of you with no guilt and no apologies. We're so happy that you've decided to spend this time with us, so go ahead and grab your favorite cup of coffee, find a comfortable place, and get ready to spend the next 30 minutes focusing on the most important person in your life, you. Okay, welcome everybody. This is Moms Love Coaching, the Self-Care from the Inside Out for Moms podcast. It's Carrie and Angie. We're back for another week where we talk to moms about self-care from the inside out and creating an identity for yourself that allows you to take care of yourself in the highest way possible at all times with no apologies. And we have a special guest today. We are so excited to have her on. Her name is my name. Her name is Carrie Olson. We share a name. And she is a saint artist, and I will let her explain what that is. But I think that what she does on Instagram with her videos geared towards women and moms is the perfect topic for what we talk about every week. So I will let Carrie explain exactly what she does, what a saint artist is, how she got into that. So take it away, Carrie. Tell us about yourself.
I thought it would be really fun just to say that Carrie is a saint.
Yeah, I am a saint.
She is a saint.
Well, I'm a mom of 6 kids, so I don't know if that makes me a saint, but
100% that makes you a saint.
I think even more than just being like the saint part of it is just kind of where I found my comfort zone, but the beauty part of it is what really got me. I loved once I kind of got past myself and realized that it was okay to have that kind of passion, that that's where things kind of started to work for me. So yeah. I am 40 and I'm originally from southeastern Washington, from the Tri-Cities, and grew up there. I just kind of normal life, but never really felt like I was on the corner with the pretty girls. Like I always liked makeup. I'd go in my grandma's bathroom and I'd organize her makeup. I loved all the colors and touching them and all that kind of stuff, but never really felt like I could be on the corner with the girls that were pretty. Always loved clothes, but never really felt like I could like express that. I had to be kind of careful. And I've spent the last 18 years in Norway and I love it here. The Norwegian culture is a little bit more refined. It's a little bit more fancy. I can remember the first birthday party I went to. My husband was like, "Are you wearing that?" And I probably had a sweatshirt and jeans on. And I was like, yeah. "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to a birthday party." I did eventually change when I got there, even though I felt like I had put on nice things. When I got there, I was like, oh, okay, I look like a kindergartner. Like, they're just fancier people. Like, it's just who they are. And then, so I kind of had to find my own style here. And then when I got into having children, I had 6 kids in 8 years, and I felt like I was completely drowning. And my oldest son has autism, and I started using Saint when we started the process with getting him tested. And I remember showing up to the appointments and feeling like I look as dead as I feel. Like, I just remember feeling like I had nothing. I would show up to these appointments and they would talk to me and it would be like, I could tell from my hair and my face and my clothes, not that those things are necessarily important, but they do reflect a little bit of how we're doing on the inside. And I felt like I showed up to these appointments struggling as much as I was on the inside, that they looked at me and I had the feeling of like, oh, wow, this mom is having a hard time. And I watched one of my best friends from high school. She was a Saint artist. She would put out tutorials. She had kids like I did. She would sit down and do them. And it was like, oh, I wish I could be pretty like she's doing. Not pretty because I needed something on my face, but pretty like, I wish I could exude that. I wish I could have a part of my life where I felt like this is mine and it's beautiful and it's good. And I watched her for 2 years because I was like, oh, if only I could do something like that. Before I got the courage to even try the makeup, because I was like, I can't do that. Tried the makeup and fell in love with it because I could get ready in 5 minutes with toddlers and babies and everything screaming. And by the end of the day, I still looked the same when I had done my makeup. So when I looked in the mirror at the end of the day, whether it was raining or snowing or vomit or crying or whatever happened to touch my own hands on my own face because I was so stressed, I still could look in the mirror and feel like, wow, I still look like me, and not makeup me, but me on the inside, the person that I was. And granted, the makeup, yes, brings out beauty, but the beauty was still mine. It was just really, really diffused in all the chaos. So that's kind of how I started into the makeup. And then this friend said, why don't you be an artist with me? And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not me. And she's like, no, but you really could. And I was like, no, but I really can't. It's not going to happen. She talked to me about it for a year. And I was like, see, here's the thing. It's not going to happen. Because then I have to like get on camera and what do I have to offer? And I don't have anything good. And who wants to talk? Like, come on. She wore me down. And we had another friend from high school that joined at the same time. So the three of us together. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a year. I'll try it for a year. And really dedicated myself. A year. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to give up because I don't have anything to offer. But as I started doing it and as I started talking more about makeup, it was like, this isn't actually about makeup. This has nothing to do about makeup. It's about being able to look yourself in the mirror and see beauty. And actually like that part of you inside from the time you were little to now, like we have beauty. It doesn't matter your race, features, your coloring, your hair. None of that matters because you actually have beauty already. It's just learning how to recognize that beauty and own that beauty. And yes, makeup gives us that ability. Hair gives us that ability, but it doesn't make us superficial. And for so long, I saw makeup and hair and clothes as kind of like, it was for other girls. Yeah, I couldn't do that. But now I realize, no, actually, it's just me playing with my beauty. And it becomes fun and exciting and amazing when you can look in the mirror before you have any of that and think, I'm beautiful and I deserve this because I have beauty. That's kind of where it all came from.
I love the part where you said that you want to exude beauty. It's not that you want to be pretty. It's this that you want to exude beauty. And that's, exactly what we talk about is having it from the inside out. Like taking care of yourself is so much more than just going to the spa or doing the to-dos and the checklists of self-care. It's identifying yourself as a person who does those things. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is that you just said it, like, it's not about being superficial when you're using makeup. It's about just enhancing what you're already feeling and kind of bringing it out instead of letting it just sort of stay in the background and sort of wither away, right?
So while Carrie was talking, I was thinking about how important you said, like, I could look in the mirror and I could see me, right? I could see me, and I jotted down me before motherhood, because how many women, that baby comes, those stepchildren come, whatever made them a mom comes, and they are like, I don't know who I am anymore. All I am is a mom. And so that was really, that really resonated with me. And we have this thing that we say about do we make the time or do we take the time?
Yes,
And we say we make the time. And if you can make 5 minutes in the bathroom mirror make you feel like you got this, like how key that is when the rest of your world is a crazy circus. Right?
Yep, I call my family the Olsen Circus. Like that's my hashtag on my personal page is the Olsen Circus, because 6 kids under the age of 8 is insane most of the time.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, I know. Don't try because
no. Oh, believe me, I'm way past that point.
Oh, it is.
Was that with any multiples, Carrie? Did you have any multiples?
No.
So I mean, yeah,
and it got to. So this is like the more emotional part of it. It got to the place where people would say to me, "I would be going crazy if I do that," which is true, right? Like if I had to do what you had to do, I'd be going crazy. I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. And it was like, yeah, but that's how I feel. Like when I look in the mirror and leave for an appointment that's important because like we're getting the child tested for something, and it's important that I can show up, and I smell like vomit, and my hair is, I had longer hair. There was hair all over, like, and I've just thrown on something dirty, and I'm maybe even, but those things don't necessarily matter. Like if that's how you're comfortable, not the vomit part, but like if that's how you're comfortable, that's totally fine. But if when you're looking in the mirror and what you see is telling you, I'm just ugly and worthless, and this isn't what motherhood has completely consumed me. If that's what your brain is seeing, then take that time, make that time. Because for me, it would be like, I'd be crying, or somebody would knock on the door and you catch yourself in the mirror and it was like, oh, I still look okay. I don't look like a broken mess. My mascara is a little crazy and I'll fix that. But it was like, if I came outside and my neighbor came outside and my kids are screaming and everything's chaos, I didn't feel like, and in addition, I look broken. I felt like at least I still look like the personality and my soul. I still look like me. And they can say your life looks chaotic, and I can say and they may not say, but you look beautiful. But I can see that when I look in the mirror. But I look good, not because I need beauty to be recognized, but because I need to see that I have value. So it just, Saint is what worked for my skin, and I loved it, and I still do, and I will tell anybody about it. But it's not the makeup. It's not the product even. It's what it gave me. And because it gave me something, it just produced this passion. And a lot of times with makeup and our own like beauty thoughts, those all started when we were teenagers. If as a teenager, myself included, you looked in the mirror and thought, oh, I can't figure this technique out, or I can't do this, or I can't afford that, or my makeup's not good enough, or she's prettier, right? That comparison started when we were really young. And we take that into our motherhood, and we see the mom who's put together and think, oh, she's so much better than me. She took a shower. She looks pretty. She has the right clothes on, right? So like, we carry that emotional part of it with us. It's not just a product we put on. It's an emotional product that we're using as well. And being able to change my thoughts suddenly from that teenager of I'm not good enough and I can't do it, to a mom who's thinking I'm not good enough and I can't do it, to no, I take care of them 23.5 hours of the day. I can take half an hour, and granted my hair's short, but I can take half an hour, take a shower and put my makeup on and put on a sweatshirt that makes me feel good, not a sweatshirt that's dirty. Like all of those things mattered for how I could do my mothering. And like I said, if those things aren't important to you, that doesn't matter, because what matters is that you see beauty. So if you can see beauty in yourself when you pass the mirror, if you pass the mirror and you think, wow, you're kicking it, then it doesn't matter what product you're using. It doesn't matter how much time you use. But if every time you walk past the mirror, which is where I was at, every time I walked past the mirror, I thought, oh my gosh, Carrie, life looks like you look right now. And that wasn't serving me. That wasn't self-care. That was me mentally beating myself with what I looked like on the outside.
I mean, 100%. And so Angie and I went to, we were certified at the life coach school. And one of the things that they talk about, or, they teach us what they call the model. And it's basically, there are circumstances in the world, and then you have thoughts about that, and then you have feelings about that, and then you act on those feelings, and then you create a result. And that's exactly what you're talking about when you talk about, how you're feeling. So when you view yourself as, or you have those thoughts that, I can't be like them, or, I look like the world feels, or, like that, those kinds of thoughts. Right. And it kind of brings you down, and then you have those negative feelings. And then your action is to, just kind of like move through your day and not really try to change anything. And you just continue to feel bad. And it's just this cycle. And then when you start, using that makeup, and your thoughts start to change, like, like, hey, I look the way I want to look. And then you start to feel good, and those positive emotions start to come up, and then you start acting differently. And, you're standing up a little straighter, and, you're a little more confident. And when you were talking about, like, we start those thoughts when we're teenagers, and it just kind of like follows us through life, it immediately made me think about, so my previous job, not the job that I have now, but the previous job I had. And it's sort of like you talked about, with Norway just being a little bit more fancier than the States. And this job was kind of like that. Like, everybody was just a little bit like higher level in the way that they dressed, and the way that they took care of themselves and stuff. And I had come from like a manufacturing job where nobody cares, And so I think I'm looking pretty good. And then I see these people walking by, and I'm like, oh, I'm not even close to like where they are. And it affects the way that you move through the world. It affects the way that you start to think about yourself. Cause I'm like, oh, I better get clothes that like only need to be dry cleaned. And, I better start, scheduling my haircut more often, and I better start doing that. And then I'd go to meetings with these people, and I wouldn't really say anything. Right. Because I was intimidated, because they were all better than me, just because I just had that thought that, because of the way they looked, I was less than. Right. And so it really is sort of, it gets in your head that you are less than. So if you can kind of like break from that and realize that you're not less than, and also start doing some of the things that make you feel good on top of that, then it's like you're off like a rocket. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yep, I completely agree. It's kind of in the same. So I, in high school, was like, I don't like any form of exercise. I'm not good at it. I can't play sports. I just didn't. I really boxed myself in with a lot of thoughts. And my brother's wife, his sister, we were in the same grade, or her sister, we're in the same grade. Popular, beautiful, cheerleader, didn't even never interacted with each other. Fast forward to before I started having kids, I threw my knee out, and she's a personal trainer. She's a fitness model. She's drop dead gorgeous. And I was like, maybe she could just help. Maybe she would just like tell me what I should do. And so I reached out to her, kind of nervous, still feeling like that awkward high schooler talking to the popular cheerleader. She says, of course I can help you. Send me some pictures and I'll set up a program for you. And I was like, when you say pictures, do you mean what do you mean? And she's like, just you in your bra and underwear, just take some pictures and I'll get a good idea of your body. And I was like, see, you're still the cheerleader in my head. That's the problem.
And I'm not.
Right. Like I'm still not a cheerleader. And I did it. And I completed it. And I did amazing working with her. Why? Because I was so like, I have to do well at this. She's the cheerleader. But here's the thing, as we got to know each other, I was like, oh, you're like so much more than that. But as a teenager, that's where we form our thoughts. She's the pretty one. I'm not. She's the athletic one. I'm not. And that friendship developed. She's actually the high school friend that signed up with me to do the makeup, because it was like, if I'm doing this, Jackie's got to get on. Like, Jackie's got to do it with me. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it together. She became a friend because I finally could turn those thoughts off, but it took a really long time. And so I think that's why I keep coming back to it. Like, if you are comfortable in the sweatpants and the messy bun and no makeup, and can still look yourself in the mirror and say, this makes me feel good, all power to you. Do that. It's not the makeup that I'm pushing. It's feeling good about yourself. And if you can still look in the mirror and think, I feel good, that's what's important. If that means a little layer of makeup, if that means a full face and glam, I don't care. I honestly don't care where you fall in the beauty world, but please tell me that you feel good when you look in your eyes. Because to me, I did a little series on like how to take a good selfie, which you learn when you have to put your face out every single day. And one of the best things that you can do for a selfie is look yourself in the eyes and give yourself a mental compliment. You'll smile, but you have to believe that compliment. You have to believe the compliment. So you can't just say, oh, I'm pretty. Like, you have to believe, wow, my eyes are gorgeous today. You have to see that beauty. And if it's just a fleeting thought that you're just filling in the blank, it's not going to get you anywhere. Beauty is what we see. And if you can't see it in the mirror, no amount of makeup, no fancy clothes, it doesn't matter how you cut your hair, never going to see it. You have to believe it from the absolute inside of you. And I think I had one of my first customers, she's probably now close to 80. She gets the makeup. She writes back to me. She's like, I've never felt so beautiful in my entire life. 70, 80 years old. You're still looking in the mirror thinking, I don't measure up. I'm not pretty enough. It's not the makeup that made her feel pretty. It's that what she started to see in her own skin, because she didn't have as much product on, is suddenly, wow, I actually do have beauty. There is beauty in my face, in my shape, in my skin, in my eyes. That's power. As a woman, that's power. That's what gets me energized. So that's why I share it.
So I think it's really interesting that we learn those things about ourselves. Like, and probably it really hits girls when around 10. Even younger girls nowadays, I think, are starting to
for sure.
compare and despair. Maybe it starts around the time you start having a period, and the hormones are changing and stuff. And then we spend a lifetime unraveling all those those beliefs that don't serve us anymore. It's very, like, get curious about it. Why does it take maybe a little bit of eyeshadow, maybe a little bit of color on my cheeks, a little bit on my lips, for me to look at myself and see that is something I can give myself, right? That it doesn't, and then I suppose that I'm curious, Carrie, as you started to use this product and on your own journey, if you noticed your thinking changing, like when you didn't have it on, and what you were saying to yourself.
That's actually exactly what I started thinking. I was like, that's what's incredible, is that you then get to a point where you're like, I'm okay without it. I'm still just as beautiful. I do fill in my brows almost every day, regardless, because there's like no hair there, and it's so much prettier. Add a little bit of mascara, but I can go makeup free, and right. So like, before that, it was like, oh, if I'm gonna go out, if I'm gonna go to an appointment, if I'm gonna go and do these things, I need to put on my makeup, the cover up, the layers, right? But now it's like, oh, well, I don't really have that much time, even though it really doesn't take that very long with this specific product. But it's like, I don't have enough time, or I didn't plan right, and do my brow real quick and put on some mascara, throw on a pair of earrings, I'm good. I can see beauty in my own face now, because I've also peeled back what I feel like gave me beauty. A lot of times we use the same techniques, the same products, the same routine that we started with when we were teenagers, or maybe even like early college. We stick to the same, because changing our face is what we put on our face is what other people see. And I can remember one of the first times I put on Saint, I went outside and my neighbor said, are you doing your makeup different? And I thought, oh no, I did it wrong. Like that was my first thought was, I did it wrong. This looks bad. I don't know what I did. And luckily I didn't take it that way, but it was like, or I didn't stick to that thought. I didn't let that thought stop me, because when you change your face, even just getting a new pair of glasses or cutting your hair different, right? Like there's that feeling of like, is anybody else going to love this as much as I do? And if one person comes in and says, wow, your hair looks different, does it not look good? Did I do something like, right? Our minds instantly go the negative instead of
the negativity bias.
Looks good, huh?
Yeah.
So just that inner confidence, that inner courage to believe that like, I actually do possess something good. Okay, my hair isn't highlighted every 3 weeks, but you know what? My color is beautiful and it's okay. And I feel good about it. So that it all circles back to, can you actually look in the mirror and see your own beauty? And that's hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. And it helps. I think the major thing for me that helped was having someone beside me saying, no, you're doing it right. You're doing it perfectly. It looks so good. And that's kind of the part of being an artist, a Saint artist, that I love, is that when a woman sends me a picture, did I do it right? It's like, yes, she looks amazing. But she's still feeling like, I don't know. No, it looks amazing. It looks so good. Look at your skin. Look at your jaw. Look at your, like, right? And being able to tell another woman, you look phenomenal. You look so good. Because we're all afraid of saying that to each other, right? Like we're just kind of in that compare game that you said, like, oh, she looks prettier, her skin is tighter, she doesn't have many wrinkles, or that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So I love getting pictures back when they've tried it, and it's like, yes. So good.
I have noticed in recent years postmenopausal skin, and just my thoughts of aging as my hair becomes more gray, and I resist having to color every 2 weeks, right? I'm not going to do that. And I think with COVID, many of my friends gave up the coloring practice. A lot of women did. And, they have these beautiful locks, but that are gray and white and all different shades. But there is something that definitely that's happening in me that I notice, that I am having negative thoughts about my aging face. And it's this, and I think it's like the other end of the spectrum. As my children, I have young adult children, I have grandchildren, and as I am stepping into who this woman is, this wise, experienced person that still has a lot to offer, believing that, and then seeing that in the mirror and coming to accept that that's what goes along with the aging process. And I'm looking, we have a lot of images in our culture that say aging isn't okay. Well,
for women.
Yes, for women.
Get your lips Botox, get your wrinkles plumped up, change your eye color.
All of it.
Whiten your teeth. I know that finding a product that could help you feel better about yourself is not a crutch. It's just, it's a tool that then, like, in some ways helps you say to those thoughts in your head that are telling you you're not enough, you're not good enough, you're not measuring up, and saying, bullshit. Oops.
Yep.
We're
leaving it in. We're leaving it in.
It's not the truth. We're so willing to accept the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, accept the lie.
And I think that's the thing is, a lot of us try and find that magic product, right?
Yeah.
You may find the magic product in another makeup. That's totally fine. That's amazing. Whatever you use is what you use. But if like what you're saying, seeing the ages of, or the signs of aging and feeling like, oh, I'm like, so from teenage to our older years, our mature years, then we get to a place where it's like, it's a constant process of learning. It's not something you learn at 16. it's something you learn every single day. And so with my daughters, I've got 2 girls, and when they come in and see me getting ready, Mom, can I have some makeup? We have a talk every single time. Well, why is Mom using makeup? Because it makes you pretty? Nope. Nope. It doesn't make me pretty. Mama's pretty already. Doesn't help at all. Because it's fun? Yeah, it's really fun. It lets me put more color on my eyes. It makes me put a little different color in my cheeks. My lips look a little bit more alive. And that's okay. And guess what? I still have wrinkles and fine lines around my eyes and some hair down on my chin. And those things aren't going to disappear because I'm using a magic product. Those things are going to disappear because I'm going to see me as a human aging. And it's okay. It's okay. So I get really nervous about posting things about beauty because I don't ever want anybody to walk away feeling like she's only concerned about makeup, or she only cares about what other people think about how she looks, or her fashion is the only thing that is important to her. She's so concerned about what everybody else thinks, right? Because what I'm most concerned about is how I feel about me. And if that means that today wearing my sweatshirt and my yoga pants makes me feel good, go for it. But just make sure that you're not telling yourself something negative or thinking that your neighbor thinks this about you. And that's where I was. Every appointment I went to, every person I talked to, every meeting I sat in, I was thinking, no one can see me. No, all I am is just motherhood.
I
remember telling my physician, I want my outsides to match my insides.
Yeah.
Because my insides, I was feeling good, and I was doing this work and learning more about self-awareness, and it was like, but my outsides aren't reflecting that. And I want my outsides to reflect how I feel about my insides.
Yeah.
So I think it's like it's like both parts. You take care of the inside, and then you take care of the outside, and that both of those together is that ultimate self-care, right? Is really feeling the best you can with what's there.
I completely agree. My dad just passed away in November, so we're just a few months out from his passing. And right now, showing up and doing a tutorial or doing a reel or posting a selfie has been super hard, because the minute that I look myself in the eyes, makeup or not, the tears start coming, because it's like you feel sad inside. You're kind of avoiding yourself. Like I'm avoiding my own eye contact. And I think we can all go through phases like that, especially in motherhood, where we're kind of just avoiding our own eye contact, because we don't want to actually look in the mirror and think, wow, you are kind of struggling, right? Like, you have to keep it together. You have to keep the circus moving. Everything has to keep going. And if you take those few minutes to actually connect with you, it just feels like, oh my gosh, I can't. There's just so much. So just avoid your own eye contact. Don't look at yourself. And as I'm going through this grief process, it's like, wow, every time I can make eye contact with myself and the tears are a little less and the emotions, it's like, okay, you're starting to connect again. You're starting to be okay. You're starting to process. And those are all, grief takes, forever, but
takes as long as it takes, right?
Yeah. But also recognizing that sometimes when we look in the mirror, it is going to be hard, makeup or no makeup.
I love that idea of eye contact with yourself.
Yeah.
You said that you were nervous about posting about beauty because you don't want people to think that it's a superficial site or what you're pushing is, necessarily the makeup, right? It's more of the transformation. It's more of how you feel about yourself. That's the message that you want out there. And I just want to tell you that when I look at your site, that's what I see, which is why I wanted you on this podcast, because I think it's perfect. I think the message is exactly that. It is, from the inside out. And so I think that it does come across. And also that I saw your post about the selfies and looking yourself in the eye, and I think it was 6 or 7 pictures that you posted of the progression, right? Of that was very powerful. It was it was subtle, but you could see the emotion in your face as you go through each, right? And that was real and genuine and definitely not superficial. So I think the message that you're trying to get out there is getting out there.
That's very good to hear. I took those, so I did a series of pictures, but I did a shutter release, so it would just, I was thinking maybe I could get a good picture before my eyes focus in, and I did. And then I put them all together and I sent them to my friend that I signed up with, Leah, and she said, you should post that. And I was like, I mean, but that's really raw. Like that only took like 8 seconds. That's how close the emotion is. And it was like, no, but you really should, Carrie, because it took me probably about a month to get to the place where I felt like I could post it. But we all have this inner feeling, right? And like clothes can cover that, and makeup can cover it, and a good haircut and some fun earrings, and all those things can cover it, but there's still emotion on the inside, and those thoughts, kind of like you were saying with the coaching, and I've done some coaching as well, and it's if you can take the thoughts away from the feelings and really work with them, you can do whatever you want to do. And one of my my own personal hashtags that I use on my stuff is bits of courage, because for me, right, 2 years of watching my friend do the makeup, there's a reason it took me 2 years, because I needed like that much courage just to write to her, even though we are best friends from high school. It took me years to be able to feel like, okay, Leah, I kind of want to try, right? Like we're all just kind of hesitant, and it can be art, it can be beauty, it can be learning a new skill. It can be all of those things where we just kind of sit like, this takes so much courage. And we think of courage as this like huge thing, but courage really is just those really small things where like, I'm going to show a part of me that is important and that I'm passionate about, and hope that nobody else says, why are you doing that? And beauty falls into that. And our generation has been told, if you think beauty is important, you're superficial.
Right.
But that's a lie. That there's such a deep lie to that, because if you think beauty is important, you're right. We find beauty in the sunset. We find beauty in the mountains. We find beauty in art. We find beauty all over us, but we also have to find beauty in ourselves. You have to find beauty in who you are. And it's not going to be a copy and paste beauty. It's not going to be a superficial beauty. It's going to be who you are, who you were, who you are, who you're going to be. It is already a part of you. And like if I can say it enough times, it's so powerful. And it gives you, as a woman, being able to say, I fit into beauty as well. Me, as I am. That is power. That is like tangible power that you can take with you, because it doesn't matter. I don't get ready for my husband. I don't get ready for my children. I don't get ready for my neighbors. I don't pick my earrings based off of what is popular. I don't pick my clothes based off trends. I pick it because I love it and I love me. And that's beauty.
I love that.
I love that too.
That is fantastic.
That drives me.
Yeah. No, that's real. That I love that so much. All right. I have one last question for you. And it's, what is the biggest transformation that you've seen with the people that you work with?
The courage part of it, being willing to try something. There's kind of two types of women that get into, or that there's me. There's the me type that watches for a really long time, and it's like, I mean, I'll just get like one thing, and then I'll maybe try a little bit more, and then maybe they do. And then there's the women that are like, I'll buy all of it. I ended up being the one that bought all of it, because it had to be shipped over to Norway. And I figured if I'm going to buy it, then I'm going to have to get everything. And so I ended up being that type, but my brain was more like, I'll just try one thing. But helping women to try something new. If you had asked me, what is it now, 6 years ago, what color of blush do you use? I don't use blush. Do you have any lipstick? Zero. Got none of it. I don't wear it. And I just kind of kept to the same like little palette of eyeshadow that I'd used since high school, the same 4 colors, a dark purple, a light purple, a cream, and a light brown. And they were great. And I used them every single day. And I didn't need anything else. Worked for years. And then somebody said, why don't you try green eyeshadow? And I was like, yeah, see, that's not going to work because I don't do green. I can't do green. I don't know how to use green. I've never touched green. What about blue? No, we're not doing blue. So the biggest transformation that I see in women is the willingness to play, the willingness to try. If you watch little girls when they do makeup, they're like, let's put this purple with this red and a little bit of orange. And it's like big and vibrant and amazing. And they look at you and they go, don't I look amazing? And you're like, oh, amazing. Yes. But they're not afraid, right? There's no, they're not afraid. And then at some point we get to a place where we're like, can't do that. Nope. Yeah. A few women flip through that are still vibrant and use it, and it's fun. So the ability to play, and women, females in general, I think we're really playful, but we kind of put a lid on that, on so many things and in so many areas, and that includes our own creativity with beauty and with fashion. It's like, oh, I can't, that's too much. I bought a dress when I was in the States for my dad's funeral that is like bright orange, almost like a construction cone orange, a little more red in it. And I put it on. My girlfriends that were there with me, they were like, buy it, it's amazing. I was like, I mean, this is a lot. No, you look amazing in it. It was like, it's on sale, I'll just buy it. So I bought it. I've worn it recently. The whole time I wore it, I was like, I feel very loud. Like, I feel so loud right now. But as a little girl, we wouldn't have even thought of it. And so reawakening that ability to just play and be loud and bright. That's what I love seeing women do. Hey, I bought a new eyeshadow and I'm loving it. Yes. You played. You did something. You just played. And we're afraid of playing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great. Angie, do you have any questions before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just wondering how we learn more.
Yes, that was my next thing. Tell everybody your website and where to find you and all that stuff.
You can find me on Facebook, Courageously Beautiful with Carrie, or on Instagram, courageously underscore. Is that what they're called? Carrie?
Yeah.
I should have looked up that word before. So you can find me on Instagram or on Facebook. And then if you're interested in learning about Saint, you can just send me a message and I'll reach out to you there.
All right. I'll put it in the show notes too, so everybody can find you. So, well, I am so happy that you said yes when I asked you to be on this, because I think this was amazing. I think it
was fun. I'm glad I said yes. Yeah. It took a little bit, that bit of courage. It was like, okay. All right. I can do that.
Yeah. I think your message is perfect. I love it. I love everything about what you said, and I'm just really grateful and happy that you were able to be on. So
thanks so much. Thank you. It was really, it was fun really to dig into that and to see how much I actually believe it.
Yeah.
It's one thing saying it to yourself on a reel on Instagram. It's another thing to talk to people about it and be like, yeah, I actually do believe that.
Yeah. You're like, I have a lot to say. Say. Yeah. I know the feeling. All right. We're going to end it there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back next week. Bye, everybody.
See you soon, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to us if you like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. This makes it easier for everyone to find us and helps us spread our message about self-care from the inside out. Have a wonderful week, and remember, making yourself the priority is the highest form of self-care.